I then come up with the idea, why don't I just fight 2 people in one night?
Never been done before.
Never been done before. This is a great way to just hype up the first Misfits event. And it's so Misfits. Let's do it. I don't know about you, but I think you either join or get left behind, man. We are getting people more and more interested into boxing. We're bringing a way bigger audience than what was done before. You know, not to shit on anyone or shit on what's been done before, but we're just coming in with a new source.
My name is Charlie Parsons from the Stomping Ground, and I'm working with the magnificent DAZN Boxing. We are here in Doha, Qatar, but by the time you've seen this, the super card will be done, so we won't touch on that too much. We are doing a piece, the evolution of crossover boxing. You are the backbone and the core of that.
The backbone.
Are you not?
I like that. I like that.
I think that's right. Let's take it back to day dot. So from that initial spar to where we are now, that must feel like a bit of a whirlwind.
Yeah, I think it's quite crazy to see where it started from, a little spar in a random gym in a ring. Joe Weller won. I said I'd fight the winner, and then it kind of just spiraled out there. And now well, you have people like Logan Paul fighting Mayweather, my brother fighting Mayweather. I'm not gonna class Jake fighting Mike Tyson as a real thing, because that wasn't a real fight. That shouldn't have never happened. But you know, you've had big fights in terms of the crossover scene. You know, me and Logan fighting and then becoming friends, and just so many other situations happening. And you know, now we had Slim and Gibb also fighting. Like these are huge fights that we're seeing just from Theo Baker and Joe Weller.
So
sparring.
What was your reaction when you initially saw them in the ring and the videos gone up online? Was it just eye-opening, actually? Like,
I thought it was just cool. I thought it was like one of those things, you know, when he was doing the whole WWE thing?
Yes.
Where he was where it was just like another one of Joe Weller's ideas. He's just doing WWE moves on people, and it was like cool to watch, especially when it was like moves in the pool and stuff like that. We thought it was cool. So then I saw Joe Weller's doing another idea with, you know, Theo Baker, and it was just boxing, you know, sparring. I was like, you know, lol, I'll fight the winner is a joke. And then things just got serious after Joe Weller won. I think he saw an opportunity to actually, like, you know, come at me. So it got to a point where I was essentially forced to fight, especially because of my audience. No one's ever really seen influencers fight each other. So this was a big moment, and there was a lot of back and forth between me and Joe. And I essentially found my feet, because, you know, when I first started, well, I knew nothing about fighting, boxing, or anything. I think the only thing I've done when I was younger was karate, and I got to yellow belt. Okay. But karate is nothing
it's very
like
different, right?
being in a ring.
I mean, you might get the discipline, but you ain't.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, to then be able to, like, get in the ring and have the confidence to fight Joe Weller in front of a packed couple box arena was insane, man.
Basically, the way I see it is that was almost like what took off this boxing journey for you, right? That there must have been a fire ignited within you. Do you remember that moment?
I think there was 2 moments. I think the first moment was when I looked in the mirror and I saw my physique. I was gassed. Yeah. Bro, because I've never had a six-pack.
I'm waiting to have that.
You gotta put in the work, bro. But I never had a six-pack. I never, like, was in good shape. So I was like, yo, this is sick. Yeah. And it just gave me that new confidence.
Got you.
Whereas before I was just this nerdy gamer, just, you know, making YouTube videos. And then all of a sudden, you know, I was getting attention. I was getting female attention because of how I looked. And, you know, I felt fitter. I felt more active. I felt better in general. Yes. I felt like even my mental health was good. I just felt great. And then to fight Joe Weller and beat him in that moment as well, bro, it was just electrifying. And
I want to say almost blagging an event at the Copper Box to then you're up against Logan Paul at Manchester Arena. Yeah. And that's like a level up, right?
For me, my thinking was I need to break America How can I do that?
Okay.
Jake Paul, Logan Paul, those are the guys who were essentially the biggest in America on the YouTube scene.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let me call them out. And I knew Logan was in a situation, and I was like, oh, okay, let me use that to my advantage, because obviously he needs a distraction. He needs something else to work for, something else for people to think about, talk about. So I was like, cool, let me, home in on this and see if he does it. Eventually he does. And then I was like, cool, we got a huge fight here. This is gonna be sick. I was confident, from my last win. So I was like, all right, cool, let's go. Let's do this.
You have that fight. It's a draw.
Yes.
Which I feel like, in hindsight, was probably the best thing that ever could have happened.
Probably, yeah, because you've got the rematch now.
Hearn, who always said he would never get involved, is now involved, promoting the both of you.
Isn't it funny?
And that's pro, right?
It was a big moment, especially for me traveling outside the UK to fight someone else.
Was that the I've cracked America moment?
Oh, yeah. At that point, I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I got people like Justin Bieber watching me, fight Logan Paul. I was like, okay, yeah, this is a different level.
For me, that felt like a special moment because it showed just how big it was and just how big the reach of it was.
That's it. People were excited about it, and that's why Eddie got involved.
Misfits is born.
Yes.
So I remember an announcement came out on Twitter.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're a CEO, you're a promoter, you're the one pulling the strings.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I had a vision. I had passion, and that can go a long way. We all, we all had a talk. We all had an idea of where it could go. And then it just, you could tell in the whole room, it was like a light bulb that just turned on for everyone, and everyone was like, oh my God, this is a gap in the market that we can really just go ham on, to the point where I truly believe, and I've been saying this all the time, I truly believe Misfits can be the home of all of boxing. Kind of like the UFC is the home of MMA. I want Misfits to be the home of boxing, and I don't want it to just be serious boxing here, here and here. Obviously, the boxing is real. There's nothing fake about it. But I want to bring in the entertainment aspect to it. I want kids to watch it and be like, I'm entertained through and through. From the fights to the back and forth to the promo to everything. I'm excited. I'm invested in their story. I'm invested in their characters. I'm invested in them as a person, everything about them, and I love it. And I'm just, every time I go to a Misfits event, I'm excited. I love it. It's just great.
All of a sudden, you're fighting a professional boxer in Pineda and Swarms on one night. It was a mad face-off. You've got Vamos being screamed in your face. I mean, how did you see it? You're obviously having to fight as well, so you got to channel that.
I mean, there was a lot that went wrong in that event. I was meant to be fighting Alex Wasabi to avenge my brother. He pulled out 2 weeks before. So we're there scrambling on what to do, thinking about what to do. So I'm there, I've been training.
Which is hard when you're in camp, by the way.
Yeah. Like being in camp, bro, to anyone that does boxing, being in camp is one of the hardest things. Sometimes even harder than the actual fight.
Yeah.
Because you have to be ready. You gotta think, like, my body has been battered and bruised. I've been sparring hard. And then all of a sudden, my opponent pulls out. So I'm like, all right, I've got to put on my promoter hat and CEO hat and be like, all right, we got to find, a way to fix this. So with like 2 weeks short notice, we were like, oh, okay, let's fight professional fire. Let's just do it, screw it. I then come up with the idea, why don't I just fight 2 people in one night?
Never been done before.
This is a great way to just hype up the first Misfits event. And it's so Misfits.
It is.
It's just not what professional boxing is. It's just its own lane.
Misfit.
It's Misfits, it's perfect. Let's do it. So that's where, obviously, the meme of Swarms being dragged out of bed to take a photo came out. And then, that whole situation was happening. We're dealing with that. And then we find another professional fighter that has no white power on their chest or any racist connotations.
A star was born in Pineda, might I just add as well.
Pineda.
Big up Pineda.
So that's where we're like, Pineda, Swarms. I fight Swarms at the beginning of the event, and then I fight Pineda at the end of the event.
Mad. Okay, so then you have your first year.
Yes.
You're promoting, and it all leads to me to this day, the pinnacle.
Yes.
The Prime card.
Yes.
One of the biggest events I've ever been part of. I mean, it was an incredible sell.
Yeah.
That must have almost now, when you take everything in and you even just listen to that, you think, wow, what an event.
Well, I mean, I love how you said an incredible sell. I mean, it wasn't all planned. Yeah.
No, true.
It was huge, humongous. Like, oh my God, man. The amount of messages, the amount of people talking about the event, the hype all over it, it was everywhere. And it was fantastic. Fantastic for Misfits, fantastic for Prime. It was sick because, obviously Prime is, one of my businesses, Misfits is one of my businesses, to join them together.
Prime card.
Oh, Prime card. Bro, I'm there like, this is the best thing ever, man.
Moving forward into 2025, I spoke to Mam. She said, look, it's just going to be absolutely monumental. The press conference for Tommy Fury versus Darren Till was something else.
Yep.
We believe you're fighting in Q1, which we can't wait for. Does that set the tone for how big this year for Misfits is going to be live on DAZN?
Well, of course. I've said, 2024 was, for me personally, a preparation year for 2025 being one of the biggest years of Misfits, one of the biggest years for my career in terms of music, YouTube, TV, you name it. I'm going to be everywhere. People are going to be sick of me.
No, never. Never.
I mean, but like, I'm good. I'm entertaining in all fields, and that's what that's just what I am. That's what I've always been. And with Misfits, like, we want this to be one of the biggest companies in the world. And the way to do that is to have, the big fights happen all the time. More big names just fighting constantly, from the football area to, tennis, politicians, musicians, you name it. Anyone can fight in Misfits. And if we're just, for 2025, going nuts in Q1, just think about Q2.
Sets the tone for the rest of the year, right?
Q4, think about all the ideas we have. Think about all the people who are invested or interested in Misfits and want to be a part of this community. It's only getting bigger and bigger. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I think you either join or get left behind, man.
JJ, if I'm honest, I think you say that, but I actually think that's wrong. I think people, whether they like it or not, are forced to join. People are a part of it now.
Well,
it's something that captivates the audience.
Left behind. Yeah. It's just, you're going to be old news. You're going to be looking at things that, is getting dated. We are the new kids on the block, and we are creating the most noise. We are getting people more and more interested into boxing. We're bringing a way bigger audience than what was done before. Not to shit on anyone or shit on what's been done before, but we're just coming in with a new source, and people just have to accept that, whether they like it or not.
JJ, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for your time. The evolution of crossover boxing, and if we just speak and unfold and listen to everything that we've just said about how big it's been and what you've just said there, that only shows how big it can become.
Of course.
Politicians, actors, everything. We will see. JJ, you're a diamond. Thank you very much.
Appreciate
you. Next year, Misfits, a massive year live on DAZN.